Hi everybody, Mike here, and today I thought I'd take you through the concept of guitar chord voicings. So I'm going to aim to demystify for anyone interested the process of how guitarists form chords. There's just a few key principles to how it works in terms of the shapes involved, and by the end of the video you're going to have a much better understanding of how voicings work, and you'll have more confidence to program them yourself. I'm going to use my soft acoustic guitar to demonstrate everything really clearly. So I hope you enjoy. Here we go. So first of all, you might have seen all these different kinds of shapes that people make on the guitar when they play chords, and I'm going to demonstrate this in a minute and expand on that. But the main principle when you're talking about major and minor chords is that it's 1 3 5 1 3 5 1 3 5 all building up. So let's take a low F, which is one of the lowest notes on the guitar. I'm going to go up from there. 1 3 5 1 3 5 1. Let's say up to there. Now that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 notes. We can't do all those. There's only 6 strings. Now the key thing is that each of those happens on a separate string. So let's go through them. So we've got 1, and we've got either a 3 or a 5 on the same string. So we have to pick one. So what we're going to do is pick the standard one, which is the 5, and then the next one along is a 1, and then a 3, that's good, then a 5, and then the 1 on the top. So you see everything is possible except this string. And due to the way we can play the guitar, it's too fiddly to have those two together, and it sounds too muddy anyway. So we're going to do that. So that's one of the chord types that we're going to talk about. Okay, so I've got my corked guitar here, and what I'm going to do is demonstrate you 5 main shapes, or types we call them. And this is what's called the caged system. That's C, A, G, E and D. So we have 5 main shapes, and these are the shapes that all chords on the guitar are based on. Right, so we've got a C shape or type, we've got an A shape, we've got a G shape, we've got an E shape, and we've got a D shape. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show on soft acoustic guitar how we build up these notes in these shapes. Okay, so we're in soft acoustic guitar. Now all we do is we go up in 1s, 3s and 5s. Say we've got a G chord, G, B, D, G, B, D. Now, did you see what happened there? We have 2 notes, B and D, on the same string. Now you can see that's going to block the B if I play the D. So what I want to do, and I've got one more string, I'm going to go straight to the top G. So this is a great visual guide, soft acoustic guitar, as well as soft nylon guitar was, just for playing with these 1 3s and 5s, if you're talking just normal majors and minors, and you can really quickly get the proper chord voicings just from seeing you see the way the keyboard is split into blue and purple. So say if I want to do an A minor, I play an A, I play a C, you can see that's on the same string. Now you see they both ring on because we're in auto mode. If I switch to manual mode, which is the really proper rules, you see it's going to block. So manual mode is really useful for checking block notes as well as visually. So I'm going to put it back to auto because it's a sort of a compromise. So I'm going to play the root, and then I'm going to play the E because I'm going to skip out that C. And then the next up is the first again, and then the third, and that's good, and then the 5th, and we've got a proper A minor chord. And this is the principle. It's that you go up 1 3 5s, you start on the root. The roots could start on the bottom string, like for an E major, and again they're both on the same string, so I'm going to skip out that 3rd. That's good, and there we go, we've got a proper E minor chord, E major chord. They could start, like I say, on the 5th string. That's as far as we can go. Or they could start on the 4th string, and the only one that starts on the 4th string, the D string, is the D type. And again, they're both on the same string, so I'm going to skip out the 3rd. And there's only 4 notes in that string because we run out of strings. So I hope you just get that principle. And they're called open chords because they're in open position, first position. So if I go back to the guitar, we've got these shapes that I've been talking about, and I've demonstrated how they're built up, 1s, 3s and 5s, that's it. But let's start talking about all these other chords that are all over the neck. Again, you might have seen all these different kinds of shapes. They're all derivatives of these 5 shapes, C, A, G, E and D. So let's take the most common one used in like rock and pop, which is the E type and the A type, the common ones. So we've got an E. If I wanted to play an F, obviously that's not one of those, C, A, G, E, D. So I have to play this, which looks like a totally different shape, but actually if I remove this finger and move it back, it is the E chord, but I've shifted it up and put what's called a bar down. I've flattened that first finger. Oops, my microphone's in the way. And what that is the nut, the white nut, is being moved up, a bit like a movable capo. So these are called bar chords. But all I'm doing with bar chords is shifting one of these 5 shapes up. So say if I do a D type and I want to do an E flat, I do a bar on the first fret, and there we go, I've transposed the D chord up, the D type, E, F, F sharp, G, etc. Same for A, B flat, C, B, C, C sharp. Okay, so we're back in soft acoustic guitar, and to demonstrate how the chords go up the neck, I'm going to take one of the caged chords, the open chords, in this case let's do E, and I'm going to strum that. And you can see you can change the strum speed, get a lovely E chord. Authentically voiced, there you go, there's the E shape that I demonstrated earlier, one of the 5 shapes. Now if I want to transpose this up, I just put the shape menu to fix. Now say if I play an F triad, it's going to give me a lovely F bar chord, which is taking that E shape and putting it up. F sharp, G, and whatever chord I play, it's going to transpose that up. So when we have the shape menu on fluid, this is going to just cycle through the different fluid shapes, the different types. So if I play a C type, if I play an A triad, it's going to go to the A type, and you're going to get to know these shapes. You see A type is a kind of a sharp 3 in a row thing. E chord looks like that. G chord and C chords both have 1, 3, 5 at the bottom. And you can see there's certain distinct shapes. So A type, remember, 3 in a row. D type looks like a triangle. So what I do is just try and get to know the shapes of these types, both major and minor versions. So for instance this D, if I turn it into a minor, the F sharp on the top is going to go back, so it's a distorted triangle, it's like a different shaped triangle. The A shape, if I play a major and then I play a minor, there's always just one note difference within the whole thing. You see that 1/3 note. Typically all these chords have just 1/3 note in them. Goes back a step. The E, major, minor. So let's get into a bit of a practical example here. I've made a demo of just a little groove using basically addictive drums, the Kontakt bass guitar and an electric piano. So just to show you how quick and easy it is to get this stuff sounding great with auto mode, I'll just put an F chord down and then maybe a D minor. See, I'm using the yellow keys there. I'll add a bit of arpeggio. Chord there. So I'm just picking out triads using yellow keys as well on the right to pick out certain strings, so you can see how easy it would be just to create these patterns. But what we want to do is practice the voicings ourselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to note mode, and so we know that the first is an F chord. What we want to do is have in mind the 5 types. We want to know what type we're using, and we want to know 2 things about each type. We want to know what shape it is, so we want to memorize the shapes, and we want to know what string it starts on, what the root is. what the string root is. So the first is an F chord. Let's start with a low F chord. If you go furthest to the left on the purple and blue key range, that's the bottom F. That's the note that we want to start on. So instead of just playing a triad, I'm going to remember my types. The type here is the E type. And it's first, fifth, first, third, fifth. Now if I go to the next chord, which is a D minor, forget sevenths or ninths, this is a D minor 9 technically. Now a D type, if I play the lowest D on this purple and blue key area, it is the 4th string. And if you remember, the D major was a triangle, but we don't want to do a D minor. Again, I'm going up the 1st, 3rd and 5th, so if I go 1st, 3rd, same string, so I'm going to skip that one. So let's just take those first two. Here we go. And I can play them in any order, and then D minor. I'm just making up something here. That's a B flat. Now that third one was, can you guess what type it was? 3 in a row. Straight 3 in a row, that's an A type. If I go down a semitone, that's the standard open A shape that I've transposed up. So the point of this is you're starting to orientate yourself. The further up you go in the neck, so I ended up, for instance, with this F chord, I ended up playing like a high F chord. And can you tell what type that's going to be? If it's starting on the D string, it's going to be a D type. It's going to be that triangle shape. So 1st, 5th. What we have to do first is get into 3rd position, which are these red key switches here. The 3rd one, I'll be starting on the 3rd fret, and I won't be going lower than the 3rd fret. 1st, 5th, 1st, 3rd, and I'll run out of strings. So that's the triangle shape. That's the D shape. And that's where we're starting, on that D string. So I can make up my own voicings, but I can follow the authentic 5 shapes, the caged system, and I will know where I am. I know what chord I'm doing. I know what type. I know what shape I have to do. So what I'm going to do now is just to show you I can improvise and make my own unique kind of lines by playing around with these chord types, but also just doing some melody as well, you know, just to sort of fill in gaps, create little riffs, interesting moments. And this is where it's so useful to know about all this, because then you can work between chords and make much more fluid parts. So just to show you, I'm going to start with the low F chord and then go from there. Let's see what happens. Obviously that seemed a bit random, but I really had a clear idea in my head of what type I was doing, what order the 1, 3, 5s were going up the strings, and then I was just weaving between them with some bits of melody and extended notes and stuff like that. So in summary, with guitar shapes, there's 5 main types called the cage system, which is what all other chords are based on. They're made up of 1 3 5 1 3 5 going up the strings, but usually starts with 1 5 and skips out the 3, and etc. And you can experiment using the voicings in note mode. The string dividers are really useful for this, and you can see visually the strings on the guitar neck. Experiment with different shapes of your own. Each of the 5 types is transferred up the neck, and this is the basis for all chords on the guitar. Of course, you get extended chords, alter chords, sus chords, etc., which we'll go into another time. So there you go, that's guitar chord voicings. I hope you've got something out of that and it's slightly demystified the workings of the guitar for you. But the principles are basically what to follow if you're going to produce authentic guitar lines, although, of course, instruments like this give you scope to create your own unique sounds, so there's no hard and fast rules. But I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Cheers.